I never thought my life would unravel under the hot sun with the sound of ocean waves in the background. When people talk about family vacations, they talk about laughter, sandcastles, sunscreen, and maybe a little chaos with the kids. Nobody imagines it ending with a marriage shattered in front of everyone you love. But that's what happened to me, and I've been living in the aftermath ever since. My husband, Daniel, and I had been married for 9 years. We had 2 kids, a boy who's 8 and a girl who's 5. We'd built what most people would consider a picture-perfect life. Comfortable home, stable jobs, a supportive extended family. When we announced that we were planning a week-long vacation to a beach resort with both sets of parents and Daniel's sister's family, everyone was thrilled. It was supposed to be one of those memory-making trips, the kind kids talk about for years afterward. In truth, I had been restless for months before the trip. I don't even know how to explain the gnawing dissatisfaction I felt without sounding pathetic. Daniel was a good man. He provided. He was loyal. He helped with the kids. He never raised his voice at me. But over time, that steady reliability started to feel like monotony. He was routine personified. Up at 6, gym, work, home by 5:30, dinner, TV, bed. Every week felt the same. And while I know there's stability and comfort in that, I started to crave something else. Something thrilling. Something that made me feel alive again. That's how I ended up in an affair with a coworker. His name was Ryan, and he was everything Daniel wasn't. Spontaneous, flirtatious, exciting. He made me feel like the young version of myself again, before marriage and diapers and endless grocery lists. I convinced myself it was harmless, just a fling to blow off steam. I thought I could compartmentalize, keep my world separate, and no one would ever know. I thought wrong. Daniel had been acting strangely quiet in the weeks leading up to the vacation. At first, I thought he was stressed from work, or maybe the logistics of traveling with so many people. Packing, booking, coordinating schedules. It can overwhelm anyone. I never imagined he already knew, that he had already pieced it together, that he was simply waiting for the perfect moment to bring it all crashing down on me. The first few days of the trip were normal. We checked into a big resort right on the beach. The kids were ecstatic, running straight to the sand while Daniel and I unloaded the car. His parents set up their things in the room next to ours, while my parents took another down the hall. His sister and her husband had a suite across the courtyard. Meals were loud and filled with laughter. The kids splashed in the pool all day. At night, we'd all gather at one of the resort's restaurants, sandy and sunburned, but happy. From the outside, we looked like the model of a happy extended family. But under the surface, cracks were already spreading. I noticed Daniel watching me more than usual. His eyes lingered, not with affection, but with something sharper, like he was studying me. I'd catch him staring while I was putting sunscreen on the kids or chatting with his sister, and he'd look away without a word. It made me uneasy, but I brushed it off. The meltdown happened on the 4th night. We'd all gone to a beachfront restaurant for dinner, the kind with torches in the sand and a live band playing soft music. The kids had spent the day in the water and were half asleep in their chairs by the time dessert came. The adults were drinking cocktails, laughing, swapping stories. It should have been one of those golden memories we'd all carry home with us. Daniel stood up suddenly, glass in hand. He tapped his fork against it like he was about to make a toast. Everyone quieted down. The kids perked up a little. I remember smiling at him, expecting something sweet and sentimental. Instead, I watched my entire life implode. "I want to take a moment," he began, voice steady, almost too calm. "We've all had a great trip so far. I'm grateful for the time with my kids, my family, and this beautiful place. But I'd be lying if I didn't say there's something else on my mind. Something I can't keep inside anymore." I froze. Something in his tone told me this wasn't going to be good. My heart started pounding in my chest, my throat tightening. Daniel reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. "Sarah, my wife, has been lying to me. She's been lying to all of us. For months, she's been having an affair with a guy from her office. His name is Ryan. I have the messages. I have the proof. and I think you all deserve to know who she really is." The table fell silent. The sound of the waves crashing felt deafening in the absence of conversation. My mother gasped so loudly, people at the next table turned to look. His sister covered her mouth with her hand. My father muttered a curse under his breath. And me? I sat there, staring at Daniel, my face burning, my whole body trembling. He laid his phone down on the table and started scrolling, showing message after message. Flirty texts, plans to meet at hotels, pictures I thought I'd deleted forever. Every dirty secret I thought I'd hidden was suddenly on display under the flickering torchlight, with my children sitting right there, eyes wide and confused. My daughter started crying, asking what was wrong. My son looked at me with a mix of confusion and anger that broke my heart in ways I can't even describe. My parents were pale, shaking their heads in disbelief. Daniel's parents looked devastated, like someone had just died. In a way, something had. I tried to speak, to explain, to deny, to do something. But my mouth wouldn't cooperate. The words caught in my throat. What could I possibly say that would make it better? That I was sorry? That it didn't mean anything? That it was a mistake? None of it would matter. The evidence was right there. The betrayal was undeniable. Daniel didn't yell. He didn't cry. He just sat back down and said, "I'm done. I wanted everyone to know the truth before we go home. I won't live like this anymore." And then he turned his attention to our daughter, wiping her tears, comforting her while the rest of the table sat in stunned silence. I excused myself, barely able to walk, and stumbled back to the hotel room. I locked the door, collapsed onto the bed, and sobbed harder than I ever had in my life. I could still hear the faint sound of music and laughter from the restaurant outside, like the world was carrying on without me, completely indifferent to the destruction of my life. The days that followed were excruciating. Daniel moved into his parents' room with the kids. I was left alone in the room we'd shared, listening to them laughing through the walls while I drowned in shame. My parents avoided me, only speaking when absolutely necessary. His sister openly glared whenever I walked into a room. The kids barely looked at me. The rest of the vacation stretched on like a cruel punishment, every sunrise and sunset a reminder of what I'd destroyed. When we got home, Daniel packed his things and left within hours. He filed for divorce immediately. His lawyer was ruthless, armed with the mountain of evidence he'd collected. Custody went mostly to him. The house went to him. He got the support of both families, of our friends, even of neighbors who heard about what happened. And me? I was left with a dingy apartment, visitation rights, and the crushing weight of regret. The affair ended the moment Daniel exposed me. Ryan never answered another text. He ghosted me completely, as though I was nothing more than a fling he could walk away from without consequence. Meanwhile, Daniel has been flourishing. He's lost weight, started running marathons, posting pictures of him and the kids at events, smiling brighter than I've seen in years. He looks younger, freer, happier. My parents, who barely speak to me, gush about how wonderful he's doing whenever his name comes up. It's like he got a new lease on life the moment he cut me out. I wish I could say I've been able to move on, but the truth is I'm drowning. I see him thriving while I wither. The kids adore him, and while they still see me, it's not the same. There's a distance now, a mistrust that I don't know if I can ever repair. I lie awake at night replaying that moment on the beach, the torchlight flickering as he read my sins aloud for everyone to hear. The humiliation, the betrayal of my own choices, the destruction of my family. It replays over and over like a nightmare I can't wake up from. People always say affairs aren't worth it, that the thrill fades and you're left with nothing. I used to roll my eyes at that. I told myself I was different, that I could handle it, that no one would get hurt. But they were right. The thrill lasted minutes. The consequences are forever. I don't know what I thought I was chasing when I let myself fall into Ryan's arms. Excitement? Passion? Freedom? Whatever it was, it turned to ash in my hands. And now, as I sit here alone, I can't escape the truth. I destroyed the best thing I ever had for nothing. Maybe Daniel is better off. No, definitely he is. He deserved so much better than me. He got it in the end, and I'm left with the bitter knowledge that the happiest chapter of my life ended under a sky full of stars, with the sound of waves crashing as my husband told the truth I thought I could hide forever.